In ethical hacking, there are so many tools you can pick from. I mean, more tools than you care about, tools you've never heard of, tools you're never going to use in your lifetime. There are just so many. But there are a few tools that stand out that you should know. And one of them is Nmap, or Network Mapper. So let's get a handle on Nmap. Nmap can be used for all kinds of things: scanning, network inventory, managing service upgrade schedules, monitoring hosts or service uptime. We use Nmap to extract information about the live hosts, the services, the types of packet filters and the types of firewalls, the types of operating systems, the versions of the operating systems, and also the versions of the applications and the services. We port scan, we ping sweep, we ARP discover, we run whole scripts, we do vulnerability testing. There's so much we can do with Nmap. Nmap at its simplest, at its absolute simplest, the syntax, and it's a command line tool, although there is a GUI tool called Nmap. At its very simplest, you say Nmap and a target. This target can be one machine, it can be a range of machines, it can be with a slash, with a CIDR mask, whatever. It's going to scan for the 1,000 most popular ports, and it's going to give you a response, and it's pretty quick. So it'll discover if the host is up, and it'll give you a status. All the ports that are closed, it will not bother, and it'll just say not shown X number of closed ports, but the ones that are open. So this one here, I can see that it is an email server, it is a DNS server, a web server. Here's an email again, because this is the SMTP, this is the POP. It is Microsoft 135. It is Microsoft, the old file and print. Here's the email IMAP. Here's the new Microsoft login and file and print. And here is the encrypted version of SMTP. Plus, I can see that it is a VMware virtual machine. And here's its MAC address. So that's an example of Nmap at its very simplest. Now, Nmap, like I said, does host discovery, port and service discovery, operating system and service fingerprinting, enumeration, which we'll talk all about later, MAC address detection, some vulnerability and exploit detection. The syntax is usually not strict. So let me just show you something. So we saw that Nmap, in its very simplest, you say Nmap and then some target. When you see the angle brackets, that's a requirement. And then if you want, you can optionally specify the scan type or scan types and the options. I found that with Nmap, only the word Nmap has to be in the beginning. The types and the options and the target can be switched around so long as you're clear as to what you're talking about. So here's the first thing, choosing a scan range. You could say Nmap and a particular IP. You could say Nmap and just a host name, so it has to be resolved. You could say Nmap and then a whole subnet range / some mask, or the equivalent would be like the whole subnet then asterisk for all. You could, and now of course this asterisk does not work with custom masks. You could have an entire range based on a host. So I could say, okay, the whole range based on www.comptia.org or whatever this is. And then whatever its IP address is, just do the whole range of that. You could say some address dash something, so like from 192.168.0.50 to 100. Or you could have commas in here. So like you could say 192.168.0.50 to 100, comma, also 192.168.1.50. So I mean, you have loads of options for choosing your scan range. When you do an Nmap discovery scan, it's going to find the live IP addresses. Now, it can try a ping sweep using ICMP echo request, but more likely it'll try an ARP scan besides an ICMP echo request. So if you say Nmap TAC capital P capital R, and it is case sensitive, you say send ARP requests. Because ARPs are generally not blocked by firewalls. Do your discovery using ARP requests, which quite frankly is the default anyway. If you say small sn, you say no port scan, just discovery. Because even if you say discovery, without the small SN, it will then try to scan the 1,000 most popular ports. So you can say, just save time, I only want to do discovery. So you can do it with ICMP echo. You can do actually can do a TCP SYN scan to port 443, a TCP ACK scan to 40 or to 80, and even to ICMP timestamp requests. If you do a TAC cap P cap S with port list, you're saying discover hosts by sending a TCP SYN to those ports. If you don't specify a port, then the default is 80. If you get any kind of response, even a reset, we know they're up. So notice that you have the syntax indicates there's no space between the TAC PS, it's actually, the TAC PS, and the port list. So it will be followed by a port scan unless you do this. So you see this TAC PS, no space here, even though it looks like a space. No space for the ports. All sorts of other Nmap scan types. Do you need to memorize every single one? No, but you should try them all just to see what they do. If you want to get help on Nmap, Nmap TAC H. If you want to find out the version of Nmap, Nmap TAC capital V, cap V. If you want to enable debugging to watch every single step, Nmap TAC small d, and then the host. TAC small s cap s, that's a SYN scan. That is a stealth scan. So we do an incomplete three-way handshake. Small s TAC cap T is complete the three-way handshake. Non-root users, meaning non-admin users, are limited to this. One I love is TAC small s cap V, which means probe the open ports for their service version, so I can check that against possible exploits. TAC s cap U means make it a UDP scan instead. Ports that respond, if they respond, they're open. If they don't respond, but they are displayed, if they don't respond, they will be displayed as maybe open, maybe filtered, unknown. If they do, by any chance, send an ICMP unreachable type 3 code 3, we know they're closed. You could also just provide Nmap with a list. So you could list the targets that will be scanned with TAC cap small s cap L. You could also small s cap A, which will find out if it's protected by a firewall. If it says filtered, the firewall is on. Unfiltered means we can get to the port, but it might be open or closed. So getting to it means the firewall's not in the way, but it might not be open for business. So you use cap A to determine if accessible ports are actually open or closed. Like for this example, Nmap TAC S cap A, and then cap A to determine if the ports are actually open or closed, and then after a target. So that's your basic scan types.